Oman just shocked the world with what they are building, not with a single megastructure, but with an entire national transformation. In a country where 40% of young people are unemployed and oil now makes up less than 30% of the economy, Oman has begun a bold shift. Vision 2040. At the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz, they are constructing a port zone larger than central London, plotting a $15 billion railway to outpace entire nations, and wiring up smart cities in the desert. If these projects fail, Oman risks debt and lost generations. If they succeed, they could redefine trade and power in the Gulf. Why is the planet watching Oman's desert gamble? And what are they not telling us? Oman's future stands on a razor's edge. Nearly 40% of the country's youth are out of work, a figure that overshadows every new graduate and weighs on families from Muscat to Salalah. Generations once counted on oil to deliver prosperity, but now, oil brings in less than a third of national income. The old certainties are slipping away. What remains is a growing sense of urgency, driven by the knowledge that without new jobs and new industries, an entire generation could be left behind. The geography offers both promise and peril. Oman sits at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most notorious maritime choke point. Every day, tankers and cargo ships crowd these narrow waters, carrying a fifth of global oil. But Oman's main export corridors all funnel through this single fragile gateway. Any disruption, political, military, or even a shipping accident, could choke off trade and revenue in an instant. For a country betting its future on global commerce, that's a risk too big to ignore. Pressure is mounting from every direction. Young Omanis want jobs that match their skills and ambitions, not just another round of short-term contracts or public sector waiting lists. Business leaders warn that without reliable, year-round access to world markets, investment will dry up. Oil prices swing wildly, making government budgets unpredictable and long-term planning nearly impossible. The stakes are clear. Unless Oman finds a way to unlock new industries and secure its trade routes, the promise of Vision 2040 could fade before it ever takes hold. Vision 2040 did not arrive as a top-down decree. Oman's leadership launched the blueprint in 2019 after months of public consultation, gathering input from fishing villages, tech entrepreneurs, and business leaders. The result is a strategy that aims to cut oil's share of GDP below 30%, double non-oil exports, and channel over $50 billion into new infrastructure by 2040. Every element is designed to shield the country from single commodity shocks and create a launchpad for new industries. At the heart of this plan stands Duk Muscle, an economic zone covering 2,600 square kilometers, larger than the City of London. Its sheer scale is meant to send a message. Oman is building for global relevance, not just regional survival. The vision's architects set strict financial guardrails, capping sovereign guarantees for public-private partnerships at 10% of GDP. This means every megaproject must attract real investment and withstand global scrutiny, not just rely on government backing. The blueprint sets out a roadmap. Invest in trade corridors, high-speed logistics, and digital infrastructure, while tying every project to job creation and skills development. The vision is not just about concrete and steel, but about building a resilient system, one that can weather oil price swings, global downturns, and generational change. With the framework in place, Oman's ambitions move from the drawing board to the construction site. At Duqm, the coastline now stretches behind a 600-meter breakwater, where towering cranes mark the rise of Oman's newest deepwater port. Here, the ambition is measured in container traffic, a quay stretching 10 kilometers, engineered for 2 million TEUs per year. Dredging crews have already cleared 70% of the planned channel, carving out a basin deep enough for the world's biggest ships. Berthing operations are underway, and satellite imagery confirms the transformation. Where desert once met the sea, now steel and concrete reach outward, signaling a gateway open to global trade. Further south, Salalah is scaling up, The port's second, third, and fourth phases add another 3 million TEUs to Oman's annual capacity. These expansions create a direct corridor for shipping that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz altogether. Salala's new berths and container yards are designed to handle the surges of east-west trade, with automated systems ready to move cargo from ship to shore in record time. In the skies, Muscat International Airport is doubling its reach. A new terminal and a third runway push passenger capacity to 24 million a year. The airport's cargo hub, already a magnet for regional logistics, is expanding to support Oman's push into high-value exports and tourism. Together, these projects form the backbone of a new Oman, one that receives, stores, and ships goods around the clock, linking the country to every major market on Earth. Steel and asphalt are redrawing Oman's map. The Oman National Railway stretches over 2,100 kilometers, engineered to move 40 million tons of freight each year at speeds up to 200 kilometers per hour. Its double-track spine runs from the Saudi border through Muscat, Duqm, Sohar, and all the way to Salalah. Survey teams have already mapped out 300 kilometers, cutting through desert, mountains, and wadis to connect the country's economic engines. The technical challenge is immense. Tunnels bored through rugged hills, viaducts spanning flood-prone valleys, and bridges linking ports directly to industrial zones. Alongside the rails, the Batina Expressway runs for 256 kilometers as a 6-lane, tolled highway. Completed in 2020, it links Muscat to Sohar and opens up the northern coast, slashing travel times for trucks and commuters. Every kilometer is built for volume, designed to absorb the surge in cargo and people as new industries take root. These arteries don't just move goods, they bind Oman's ports, factories, and cities into a single, integrated logistics network. The result is a backbone strong enough to support entire clusters of manufacturing, trade, and technology, setting the stage for the next wave of economic growth. Inside Liwa Plastics and Petrochemicals City, the numbers tell their own story. 1 million tons of polyolefins roll off the lines each year, 5 times the output of the average GCC plant. Downstream clusters are buzzing, drawing in new manufacturers and supplying everything from car parts to packaging. At Knowledge Oasis Muscat, the 5G network is now live across the entire 3-square-kilometer campus. 200 firms and 15,000 specialists call this tech hub home, with smart buildings and IoT systems running around the clock. For young engineers like Aisha Al-Hinai, Ali Shah Al-Hinoi, the moment the 5G switch flipped was electric. She describes the energy of building something new, even as the pressure to innovate never lets up. Meanwhile, Kazayan's smart city has launched its smart grid pilot, powering warehouses and e-mobility fleets with real-time energy optimization. This is Oman's new industrial spark. Factories, labs, and logistics parks coming online, each one adding value far beyond raw exports. Every promise of progress comes with a price. At Duqm, the expansion swallowed stretches of rare wetland, drawing sharp lines between economic ambition and ecological loss. Environmental impact records detail the dispute. Scientists warned of habitat destruction, while ministries pressed ahead, and some findings were quietly set aside. In Ras Madraka, fishing families found themselves uprooted as the port pushed outward. Compensation arrived late or fell short, and new homes stood unfinished while old livelihoods slipped away. Audit reports from Liwa Plastics revealed a 10% budget overrun, fueled by rushed contracts and last-minute changes meant to satisfy environmental rules. Tensions run high, but the machinery never stopped. Along the planned railway, survey teams have completed 300 kilometers, and the first heavy equipment now carves through the desert. Oman's vision is no longer just a blueprint. It's steel, concrete, and the hope that the next milestone will justify every sacrifice made along the way. In 2019, Oman launched Vision 2040 in response to 40% youth unemployment and oil revenues falling below 30% of GDP. Over $30 billion has since been committed to projects like the 2,600 square kilometer Duqm Special Economic Zone, the 2,135 kilometer National Railway, and the Knowledge Oasis Muscat, which now hosts 200 tech firms and 15,000 specialists. These mega builds have created tens of thousands of jobs, attracted over $8 billion in foreign investment, and pushed Oman's ports and airports to new records. Yet, questions remain about the long-term environmental cost of wetland loss, the social impact of village relocations, and how much classified data on project debt and foreign labor dependence is still undisclosed. As Oman's new infrastructure connects its cities and industries, the evidence shows real progress, but also real risks. Whether these projects secure a resilient, post-oil future will depend on how Oman manages these unresolved challenges in the years to come.